And in the process, he came up with incredible research and discoveries, and ended up finding that what he discovered and what Penrose has discovered worked nicely together. Now, I want to make a point about patterns before I go on further. I want to show you how key this whole notion of patterns is, all right? And so I'm going to start with one of the basic aspects of microtubules. These little spheres you see here represent molecules. And there are 13 of these molecules that form this tube, okay? And then they can ravel or unravel depending on circumstances. The reason why they're showing two different colors here is that these molecules are called tubulin. And they can choose to polarize. And when they polarize, they can create all kinds of patterns. And in fact, they are the master pattern maker in the human body. And thus the reason why bringing Jeff Hawkins and Penrose and Hameroff together in this topic, okay? And I would like to just give an illustration how key this whole notion of patterns is, all right? To illustrate this, I'd like 2 volunteers, please. Anybody? It won't hurt, I promise. Okay, how about the 2 ladies right back there in the red?
I don't have as much bling as she does.
I'll share.
You might not get it back.
Okay, so what I want you to do is stand facing each other about 12 feet apart, but not directly in front of one another. Okay, now you're going to have to walk straight, so how about standing right here and move over there a little. Okay, now what I'm going to illustrate is the importance of this phenomenon of these tubulins being able to create this polarity, which is the secret to how they create the patterns, okay? Now, what a lot of people don't understand is human polarity is one of the essential components of how we stay alive and how we operate with these bodies, okay? Polarity. And if you've seen the movie Matrix, you saw how, and quite accurately, saw how these AI machines turned all of humanity into batteries to run their holographic world, all right? Well, that actually is based on good science, okay? Our bodies create tremendous amounts of electricity, and they do it with this capability of using polarity, all right? Now, what a lot of people don't understand is that our bodies are so keyed into polarity that when we walk forward, we actually interact with the Earth's magnetic field. And when we do walk forward, because of the polarity that are in these microtubules, we literally pick up energy, a form of energy to sustain this very complex system, okay? Now, if our polarity gets switched, instead of being fed by the field as we walk through it, we actually get drained. The negative takes place. If you walk backwards, you actually, that's a form of cleansing or cleaning the body. If you walk forward, this is a way of actually feeding the body energy. Okay, and I'm going to illustrate. Ladies? All right. Now, I'm just going to have you pick an arm and raise it straight out. Okay, and I'm going to push down. I want you to see if you can keep it there. Okay, ready? Hold. Okay. Okay. Am I pushing too hard?
Yeah.
Okay, I won't push so hard. Let me know what's comfortable. Okay, ready? Hold. How's that? That's good. Okay, and I'd like to do the same thing here. Okay, ready? Hold.
Okay.
All right, now I'd like both of you to take 3 steps forward. Okay, please put your arm up. Hold. Please put your arm up. Hold. And take 3 steps backwards. Oh no, you just screwed everything up. Let's start all over again. Arm up.
I thought we were dancing.
You created a vortex, okay?
I am a vortex.
Well, bless your heart. But right now...
I gave you another subject.
Yeah, well, not right now. All right, hold. Okay, 3 steps forward. Arm up. Hold. Okay, 3 steps backward. Hold. All right. Now you see when she walked forward, she became weaker. Both of them became weaker. When they walked backwards, both of them became strong. Now, don't move. All right. One of the things that I've discovered mathematically are these kinds of patterns that can literally interact with all aspects of the body. This happens to be one of them. Some of you heard me talk about this last time I talked. Watch what happens when I take this pattern, that's all it is, just a pattern, and put it on the lower dantian. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing here. Okay, each of you take 3 steps forward. Arm up. Hold. Hold. 3 steps backward. Arm up. Hold. Arm up. Hold. This is how we're supposed to work, okay? So something as a harmonizing pattern literally puts the polarity back the way it should.
I want one.
You can get them. I have a sign-up sheet over on the table. Please put your name down there. Okay? Thank you, ladies. Really appreciate that.
Can I do the hokey pokey?
You can now do the hokey pokey, yes. There's a reason why whirling dervishes whirl. All right. All right. So I'm really trying to make my point how key patterns are in this whole discussion of consciousness, intelligence, and artificial intelligence. So here's what Hameroff has to say about conscious intelligence versus consciousness. Okay? Hameroff has researched how consciousness works, and he has concluded that the microtubules are the primary component in our consciousness. He has concluded that the observable quantum effects that occur in human brains are caused by highly aligned water that is inside these microtubules. Penrose agrees with this concept and further argues that Bose-Einstein condensates, or BECs, in the neurons are how we reach decisions. All right, I'm going to talk about BECs in a second. The BECs are possible because the water inside the microtubules can be strongly aligned to form a high-temperature superconductive medium. All right, now this is no small matter. Up until this came out, the only way scientists were able to create Bose-Einstein condensates was near absolute 0 Kelvin. They noticed that when you take any element or compound and you drop it close to absolute 0 Kelvin, the atoms start to lose their atom-like structure. Instead of behaving and looking like atoms, they look like they're all one and the same. That's a Bose-Einstein condensate, all right? And so they've been using this by trying to create supercomputers, which I won't go into, highly technical. The point is, what Penrose is stipulating and what Hameroff has pretty much backed up in his research is that these microtubules, especially the ones that make up the neurons in the brain, have a capacity of creating quantum mechanic principles. Okay? There's a term in physics around this, it's called a singularity or non-local phenomenon. Many of you in this audience would call it psychic. Other scientists would call it fuzzy physics. Magical stuff happens with quantum mechanics, whether you're talking about Schrodinger's cat or you're talking about quantum entanglement. You've seen me before demonstrate quantum entanglement at these talks. It's magical stuff, okay? But the real discovery here is that we are walking quantum phenomena with these microtubules in our body by creating BECs. Now, what neither Penrose nor Hameroff got into, but what has been discovered, is that the brain itself is made up of 15% by weight of what are called monoatomic elements. Monoatomic elements are a completely different form than what we consider usual metals, heavy metals, like gold or lead or palladium or platinum. These heavy metals actually take on a whole different form in monoatomics. They do not cluster together as atoms. The atoms exist succinctly and discretely by themselves, and when they do not look like the metal whatsoever. So metallic gold looks like, you know, what you wear on your bracelet or around your neck. But if you turn it into a monoatomic where the atoms are separate and discrete, it looks like a white powder. And it does magical stuff. And thus the reason why the brain is composed 15% by weight of monoatomics. Because it's been shown that with monoatomics you can create cross-dimensional phenomena with patterns. My area, which I love, okay? And so one of the phenomena that they have done a lot of research on, and you've seen me demonstrate at these talks, is what are called soliton waves, which are, in physics jargon, scalars. So the brain literally has the capacity of creating cross-dimensional phenomena with soliton waves, with monoatomics, with microtubules. Magical stuff happens, and you've seen me demonstrate it at previous talks. I'd entertain you again, but we need to get through this. All right? Now, microtubules are hollow, rigid cylinders of 5 to 50 microns in length and 30 nanometers in diameter. They consist of proteins of tubulin attaching to a growing end in form of a helix. Tubulins in microtubules are organized in 13 parallel protofilaments. Now, it turns out that energetically they cluster like this while they're in this state. Even though you don't see it here, energetically all of the molecules that are around the central molecules start forming this pattern. And this pattern is key. This is our harmonic pattern. This is the geometry of what's called in sacred geometry the cube of Metatron. Okay? So microtubules comprise the cytoskeleton of living cells. In particular, they're responsible of the rigidity of the cytoskeleton and participation in division of cells. So when cells divide, these microtubules completely rearrange themselves as the cell divides and then come back together again after the cells finish their mitosis. Okay? And so we constantly are repatterning. Massive amounts of repatterning per second. We have trillions of these in our body. Trillions. Okay? And the brain has the capacity of talking to every single one of them at the same time, if it so chooses, through soliton waves. Okay, let's move on.